Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in central Scotland. Thanks for dropping in today and welcome to another Simple Sundays project, and it's this one here, a little chunky gift bag which is really quick and easy to make, and the finished dimensions are 2 3/4 inches by 2 1/4, and I'm just looking at 4 inches tall, so 2 3/4 by 2 1/4, and it's 4 inches tall. And I will just have a look on my trimmer because I didn't write down the measurements, the dimensions in inches. So 2 3/4 is 7 centimeters by 5.7 by about 10.2. So that's the dimensions in centimeters, and I'm going to show you how I made it. I'm going to use this same DSP because I really like it. This is one of the sheets from the Ornate Garden DSP 12 by 12 pack, which is in the annual catalogue. I've actually tried to concentrate on products that are entirely from the annual catalogue except for the sentiment, because I really liked this especially for you. So not a Christmas project today. For those who might be new to my channel, I tend to post a video on a Tuesday and a Friday, but for now my Friday is a festive Friday project, and I always do a Simple Sundays project on, you guessed it, a Sunday, so that you're making something that's easy to make, quick and easy, and doesn't use a lot of product at all. And it's quite good for people who just like simple crafting, or anybody who's new to crafting and feels that some other projects at this point in time are too complicated. Please excuse me, I've got a real frog in my throat this morning as well. So you're going to need a piece of designer series paper which measures 10.5 inches by 6 inches or 26.5 by 15.2 centimeters. And we're going to pop on a few score lines and then pop our bag together. So apologies for the lighting, it's really quite dark outside. I'm also filming early in the morning, so I apologise if there is a bit of glare, but I can't see what I'm doing otherwise. So on the long side you're going to score at 2 3/4 inches, 5, 7 3/4, and at 10, oops, which is 7, 12.5, 19.7 and 25.4 centimeters. Turn it round to the short side and score at 2 inches or 5 centimeters. That's all your scoring done. So let's get the scoreboard out of the way. And then we're just going to fold and burnish on all of those score lines, just making sure that our lines or our edges match up, because sometimes they don't quite match depending on the paper. This is quite pliable, so you've got to make sure that it does what you want. So just keep your edges even as you go. Pull that over just a fraction. There we are. And then this little bit at the end here, and again I'm just going to make sure that these edges line up. There we go. So that's all the scoring done. So we've got this narrow strip along the bottom and this really narrow section along this side. I tend to cut from behind. You can probably see it easier on this side, but I'll turn it back over to cut rather. So you've got these 4 sections here, the larger sections. You've got this really narrow strip at the side and these smaller rectangles along the bottom. These are going to form the bottom of the box. So we're going to remove this little rectangle here and just angle a little bit at the top, but I am going to turn it round, because what we're actually going to do is we're just going to cut either side of these score marks to take that score mark away altogether, so that we've got no overlap on the bottom of our box. So I'm going to remove this small rectangle here, taking the score line with me, cut at an angle here, turn it round and cut at an angle there. So I'm going to cut just either side of the score line. I know it's not that easy to see on this side. So I've cut a straight edge on here, left the score line on here, but I'm actually just going to cut up the score line, or the other side of that score line, and just remove that little bit there. So that's all we're taking off. It really is a tiny little bit, and I'm going to do that on all of those sections. So I'm going to cut either side and just take that score line away. You can just notch slightly on each side, but I want the bottom of my box or my bag to look quite square once it's finished, and it helps with putting it together if not every panel is cut into a wedge. Just helps with lining it up a bit more, lining even. So that's all the scoring and the cutting, and then it's just a case of putting it together. So I'm going to add some tearing tape onto this section here. Just turn it round because my tearing tape is already cut at a bit of an angle. So just add a little bit along here near that score line and just pull that to an angle there. Give it a good press, and then I'm just going to grab my take a pick tool and take that backing off, and then this should fold over nicely and join up perfectly. So that's now the join, which is going to be the back of my box here. So this is the front panel that's going to stick down last. This is the back panel that I'm going to do in a minute, but first of all what I'm going to do is pop my two side panels in, and I just want to join those together with a little bit of adhesive. So I'm going to grab my Stampin' seal and just pop a little bit along the edge of there, and try and get it on the DSP rather than my grid paper. And just try and catch those together, give them a bit of a press, and then just making sure that I'm checking where the back of my bag is. That's here. So I'm going to put the back flap down next. So I'm just going to add a couple of bits at the sides to stop any gaping, and a bit along there, and fold that over. And then the last part to go down is the front panel, and again I want a little bit on each side as I go, just to make sure that stays stuck, and a little bit here too. And it just makes sure that the bottom of your bag has a little bit of strength in it. And then all I did was I popped my fingers here, my thumb and my middle fingers held on to the corners, and before I pressed it tight I just made sure that I lined up my corners like so, and that forms the top of my bag. Now you can leave it resisting like that if you want, or you can let it go in at the sides like that. So I think for now I'm actually going to let it keep that shape because I really quite like that. So again, it lets you see that from here you could probably put something not quite square, because it's not quite a square bag, but a nice rectangular box with some jewellery or something in it, and you can make the sizes to fit. So I'm going to put that to the side for now, and I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So I used very vanilla cardstock to do my stamping, and the stamp set I used was the Little Treats Cling stamp set, and this is from the new August to December mini catalogue. Lots of different greetings, thank you for coming, so you can make some thank you gifts for a workshop if you do workshops, or a party of some kind. There's a Halloween one, there's a spider too, and I used this especially for you, but you've got some sweeties and a Santa hat, a gift, a ho ho ho. So it's quite a versatile little stamp set, and they're all very small, so if you make small projects like I usually tend to do, this is a fabulous stamp set. But I'm using the especially for you stamp, which I've already got mounted on. This is a B block. And the ink I used is my Sahara Sand, because I felt that toned in really nicely with the gold foiling here. So I'm just going to stamp that onto my card. Just make sure I've got plenty ink. Stamp it about there. And it's a nice clear crisp stamp. I really like it. And then I used my, oh my goodness, I always forget the name of my punches. Bear with me just 2 seconds and I'll have a look in my old catalogue that I've got handy here. This is last year's annual catalogue, but it has all the punches. The Timeless Label Punch, that's what it is. I'm terrible for remembering the name of punches. And what I did was, I'm not too worried about this edge here because I'm going to show you what I did, but I want to get that straight. I'm just going to have a look here. So I am angling it towards myself. So I want to punch about there, but I'm actually going to put it back in to punch this end. So I'm going to punch that. Like so. And then what I did was, sometimes you can pop things back into the punch from the front side, but sometimes you have to go back in from the side. But I just want to pull that through to make sure that I don't cut the edges on my punch. And then once I'm happy with where that is, I'm just going to grip it initially to see if I'm happy. Pop it along just a little bit, I think, about there, and then punch again. So that gives you any size of greeting you like. I probably could have kept that out a little bit, but never mind. I don't know if it will let me fix that. I'll just rectify that by bringing this side in a little bit, if it will let me. So probably about there. There we are. That's just, oops, that's just evened it up a little bit more. So that's a trick that you can do with your punches as well. And then I decorated my sentiment with the little metallic pearls, and I used the gold ones. And I'll just grab my take a pick tool. I can't find the cover for the sharp bit. I've thrown it somewhere. Here we are. So just cover that up and get the putty end. This is a fabulous tool if you don't already have one, and it actually has it's got putty on one end and it's got a removable part on the other side. It has a paper piercer and a spatula, but you can buy spares, but you also get, it actually comes with this, the ball tool, so you've got a thin end and a thicker end, so you can interchange those. So it does come with those when you first get it, but you can actually buy a spare one, a spare set as well. So it's a really versatile tool and I really like it. So I'm just going to add a dot somewhere, or a pearl about there, one about here, and oops, I just want one, I don't want two, and one maybe about there, just wherever you feel they want to go when you make it. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals. I've left some of those downstairs, but because last night I was watching telly and I started making up my advent countdown, my Christmas countdown box, the advent calendar type box, and it was just so much fun. And I'm going to add 3 onto here to make sure that that stays stuck. So the advent calendar comes in a kit. I might do a quick video just to let you see it. I really enjoyed sitting last night watching a Harry Potter film. Oh Karen, it does help if you actually put the rest of your bag together, doesn't it? So the green ribbon here that I used is from the Ornate Garden set. Oh, and I've put that somewhere as well that is going to be lying underneath something else. I had it ready and I don't know where it's gone. I've got the empty bag, but the empty bag isn't any good. Where's the ribbon gone? Oh, I'm not going to look for it. I've got a new set which I'll just grab out of my ribbon box, if you bear with me. I had it all ready. I think I've maybe knocked it onto the floor because if I remember rightly, I heard something falling. So let's just grab the new one and grab the ribbon out of there. Here we are. So now we need to make sure that we get that plastic covering off. I know some people leave it on and pull their ribbon out of the side of the plastic, but I just take it off completely. But the thing about grabbing the plastic is that you often grab the ribbon as well, and I just want to cut the plastic, obviously. There we are. And I just want to grab enough length to be able to tie a bow. There we are. I couldn't see my ribbon scissors, but they are here, so that might be far too much that I've cut off, but that's okay. So I'm going to enlist the help of a little clip just to be able to tie that ribbon. These are retired clips that we used to sell, but we don't anymore. But I'm just going to use that to hold my box or my bag together. And to make it easier for me, I'm going to tie this initially in a double bow. It's very slippy paper, so it wants to, and I just noticed I'm trying to tie it the wrong way around, so just always check where the back is before you do anything else to finish it off. Right, let's stand you up a minute. There we go. So let's tie our double knot first. I think it might be easier while it's standing up. And bring that round and through. See, normally I would lean this up against my tummy to tie my knots, but I can't do that on camera for lots of different reasons. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a quick bow. That double knot's just helping to hold it in place a lot easier, and hopefully the recipient will just slip that ribbon off the top when they open it anyway. There we are, so we can get rid of the clip. What I want to do is just make sure these tails are facing down the way and just adjust the size of that bow to get the loops to the size I want as well. But you know what it's like when you're making something with a bow. You can faff about all day, so I think I'll leave it at that for now, because you get the idea, and just cut those tails, which I did make too long, but never mind. Just leave those a little bit longer, I think. There we are. So all that's left is to make sure again that I've definitely put that on the right way around, pick up my greeting and pop that about there on the bottom of the box. Ignore the guinea pigs, I think they're falling out over breakfast. So this side has now decided to pop in the way, so I'll just pop that in that way as well, and there we have it. Nice and quick and easy to make if you don't faff about, and you can find all the bits that you'd already laid out to make it with. And as I say, I post a video on a Tuesday. I've got my Festive Fridays running at the minute, between now and probably the beginning of December, but it would normally be a project of some kind on a Friday anyway, and I always do my Simple Sundays as well. So if you want to tune in again, I would love it if you would subscribe if you haven't already, and press the little bell icon so that you get a notification as soon as I post a new video. But I will catch you again soon. Until then, take care, stay safe, bye bye.